Imagine hitting the reset button on your marriage. Not just reigniting her love and devotion, but waking up beside her after a night of deep connection, and all within 8 weeks.
Definitely in stage 5. So we're, the divorce stuff, we had a trial separation drawn up, all that stuff's gone. Back to both of us 100% committed to the relationship. So level 5, I think is good.
Level 5, and it's been about 8 weeks. That's insane.
So how did Michael turn his marriage around so quickly? Well, in this video, I will reveal the GEARS framework and the 5 action steps to restore balance, rebuild trust, and reignite passion in your marriage. The 4th step alone can unleash a boundless stream of attraction that she has for you.
I think that really just unlocks that endless attraction she has for you.
But in order to get there, we need to start with his first principles in the GEARS framework. See, right now she's waiting for something from you, something more impactful than any apology, change, or promise that can be made. It's one of the hardest things for most men to do. Yet, when you understand it, the shift in her energy will speak louder than words. Listen as Michael explains it.
The space was forced on me, just by the way where she was. But when I stopped trying to engage and, made the interactions more logistics, what to do with the kid, and really just back off. One, I think that was helpful for her.
The first step of this framework is guided separation. I know it seems illogical that taking space away from her will bring her back. I get that. But in matters of the heart and attraction and emotions, you can't use your head or logic. For most men, we want to go toward a problem to fix it, and that works in every other domain of your life. But she is not a problem to solve, okay? She's not. She's a person that needs to take a breath. And for you, it's a chance for you to rebuild your frame or perception in her eyes. We'll talk on that a little bit. Let me give you an analogy that may help. You have to be the campfire to her cold night, a steady flame that offers warmth, light, and safety. People are drawn to campfires because, well, not just because we evolve with them, but because of inviting glow. But when the fire gets too bright and it chases people, we run away. But the campfire is just sitting there with enough light and warmth for people to be attracted to it. And right now, if you're chasing her, you might feel more like a wildfire to her, overwhelming, out of control, anxiety, just chaos, right? Destroying everything in your path. Instead, focus on becoming a steady campfire, grounded, calm, and magnetic. She'll naturally want to come closer. Right now, she's seeing you through the lens of negativity. Only space can start to reset her perspective, giving you the opportunity to work on the other steps that will then rekindle her admiration and connection. Now, Michael reflects on how this looked before versus now.
I had jealousy issues. She was trying to work out and spend time with friends, and I felt threatened and had this weird stuff like, you doing this for me? Well, she really wanted to just hear she was enabled. They go through pregnancy, body changes, whatever else. I wouldn't treat it right. It was more, hey, awesome, that is great. Kind of just wrap that around. Hey, I want you to go out and do that. And I really do.
But how do you handle this time apart when you can't stop wondering what she's up to, and every just inch of you is just wanting to reach out? Is she talking to someone else? What if each day that goes by, she grows more distant from me? She starts to forget me. She falls more out of love. I get those thoughts. I understand them. But they are beliefs that shape you into the man that you currently are. And that version of you is the one that pushed her away. So we have to change those beliefs, right? This is where the work begins. Because listen, your beliefs might be distorting the truth and pushing her further away. Now this brings us to an important exercise. We must challenge those beliefs. I don't want you to simply listen to information and not do anything with it.
There's an exercise, I can't remember exactly what it was called or which homework assignment, but it was the beliefs. So when I did that, I went through them kind of one by one of what if I believe she's not trying to, get in shape to go find somebody else? What if she just wants to feel better about herself? How would I treat her? And then it's, then you go through that. God, you just have those realizations like, man, I'm an asshole. Why was I thinking this?
You're speaking to something that has so much depth that we could probably spend an hour talking about, but I want to touch a little bit more on it, which is, and this could be debated, but this is what I believe with the program and the philosophy that I have here with you guys is you're created, man. Because let's take the example of she's doing this for other men, right? Because if you believe that is true for you, you're going to show up in a way where she wants to go out. You're going to be like, oh, you're going to treat her negatively. You're going to push her away. And she's literally going to go do the damn thing that you're afraid of, right? Because you're believing it. Right?
Oh, yeah.
And that's why it's having that posture of curiosity, of just genuinely asking her and then believing her. Because what would a life be like if everything that she says you just didn't believe? You're like, I don't trust you. It's what is that going to lead to as a relationship? And so questioning those belief systems, it's really changing the software in your own brain, right? And
Here's how it works. Number one, identify the belief. Think about the assumptions you're making about your wife's actions and her intentions. For example, she's getting in the shape because she wants to attract someone else. Instead, ask yourself, what if that belief wasn't true? What if she's simply doing it to feel better about herself because she felt so low in the marriage? It's not about attracting another guy. And then how would you respond to her differently if you shift your perspective, which is the next step? And for shifting your perspective, you must notice how the reframe impacts your mindset and behavior. Instead of reacting out of insecurity, neediness, impulsivity, begin to respond with understanding, and then strength comes from that. This shift revives your mindset, fostering a positive dynamic between you two. Now, clinging to negative beliefs only pushes her further away, but curiosity, that brings her closer. I want you to try this today. Identify just one belief, pause the video, write it down below. Seriously, write it out. What is one belief you have that's negative, that's causing negativity and bad outcomes, and then shift the belief. Through action, you will create change, okay? This is the stuff that we do with the guys in the program, so take that action right now. Now, Michael thrived in his business by trusting his instincts, but when it came to his marriage, he realized he needed a completely different set of tools.
I'd watched a bunch of podcasts and things like that because I was looking at this at one time, and then you get into a lazy routine. Things sort of blew over, and it's back to not the biggest priority in the world. And I had just started I switched careers after 25 years, or switched jobs. That was a new one for me to step into a new role. So it kind of got backburnered again, and then you fall into some of those habits that got you there, and eventually the straw breaks the camel's back, and well, now this has moved up to the top of the priority list, and got to get it right.
Now we'll hear about the straw that broke the camel's or the marriage's back. That'll come in the next framework. But when it happened, Michael tried counseling, which in his case only left him feeling frustrated and highlighted the need for a fresh approach.
My first time in therapy, we did couples counseling. It was a show that was poor. Wouldn't recommend that to anybody. The way they do that, it's very insulting almost. I mean, they give you 1980s printout sheets.
When Michael sought a better solution, it led to the second step in the Gears framework, which isn't something you'll often hear about in traditional marriage counseling. However, when Michael put it into action through our program, his wife stopped pulling away, and she started to see him as this grounded, dependable man that she could feel safe with and lean on, go to for advice or anything. Which leads to the next talking point of establishing your frame. Listen to Michael describe this.
The frame was a big one because when you mention her reactions driving mine, that was you read these things and you watch it, and it's like you always think of yourself as a pretty smart person. I'm a pretty successful guy. Then I'm watching this, I'm like, oh, for shit's sake. Yep, did that, did this, did this, did this.
You see, a solid frame unshaken by her emotions and external stress, it creates that emotional safety that she needs, the core needs she has in a relationship. This doesn't mean ignoring her feelings, but responding calmly and confidently, showing her that no matter what, you're stable and in control of yourself. This is the most important aspect of yourself that will bring her back into her feminine, right? And accept her influence, to submit to your lead, which is what you want. Now, Michael recalls the critical moment at an innocent family event where he failed to maintain his frame. In fact, this moment was the straw that broke the camel's back in their marriage, revealing just how far things had really fallen from there.
It was at a kid's birthday party. So she has a bunch of her friends up there, and one of her good friends is going to be relocating with her husband. And, those kind of kids parties, there's 30 kids running around. It's nuts. I try to keep an eye on my son, make sure he's not, beating another kid up or getting in trouble. And, just sort of an irritated day, just sort of irritated, not in my frame by any stretch. And we get to the end of the party, and her and a couple of her friends kind of corner me. Hey, we want to all go out and go drinking together. And I had just gotten back into town. I'd been out for like a week. We were supposed to have get a night together to just relax and chill. And very simply, rather than just, hey, go have at it. I know I rolled my eyes, kind of felt like I was backed into a corner, got defensive. All the things when you talk about your frame, did every single mistake there. And then even with it was some of the neediness side of me came up, texting her while she was hanging out.
Now, Michael's reaction was rooted in old triggers, which magnified his insecurities and shattered his frame even further.
And I had a sensitivity to it because about 9 months prior, she went out in a girls' night thing back in her hometown, got ridiculously drunk. I, did not handle that well, so it was kind of a trigger. And, we get into the night, she'd been drinking a while, and I was like, what's going on? Just gonna ghost me all night? You start like the little things you brought up, like don't repeat text. I can read from the night, 5 stupid little texts in a row. And I said, what, are we done? Yeah, we're done. And she drank plenty, and it was just a combination of things. And nope, we're done. And she comes back, and didn't handle the argument well when she came back. She wasn't in a good frame of mind to have that discussion. And I said, well, you're in my house. If you want to leave, if you're done, this is my house. You can leave. And not the right way to handle it. And hers was, I want a divorce now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not the first time, she said we were done in our relationship. We'd had some rocky times over the years, but I think it just all burbled up, and boom.
You see, alcohol magnifies our emotions, and his wife likely reacted in the heat of the moment. But by establishing his frame and trusting her, Michael shifted the dynamic, fostering emotional safety and respect, and connection, by the way, laying the groundwork for rebuilding their marriage. Now, the next step deepens that connection and unlocks her emotional walls. This brings her closer to you than you really ever thought possible. You ready? It is absorb and acknowledge. Let's hear how Michael discovered the power of this step.
But I really tried to understand and not solve. And that was kind of that first, crack in the ice wall.
He did this. This step is all about listening with your full presence and validating her emotions rather than rushing to fix a problem. It's about showing her that she's truly seen and heard. Now, Michael shares a pivotal moment when he thought he was really helping, but learned the true value of simply being there.
My little guy, he's 4. When they're 4 years old, they're a pain in the ass. I mean, they very needy, very touchy-feely, right? And, they step out every now and again. But like, the first thing where she started to open up was he had a tough day. She brings him to where she works. She works at a planasium for kids. And he was just having a rough day, arguing with other kids, crying. And she came back, and normally it'd be like, hey, I'll just take him. Him and I will go, do dude stuff somewhere and get you some time. And to me, that was always what I did with my daughter when my ex-wife was that way, was, okay, fine, got it. We're going to go somewhere. That's not really what she wanted. It was more be there, be present. And she just sort of unloaded. She had tears come out. She just jumped into my arms because I didn't react. I just listened. I said, man, and really trying to understand her feelings of that sucks. I get that it's overwhelming, that you're touched out, and he was just all over the place. You felt embarrassed at work. You were worried the other moms were judging you. Even though the logic self is, no, they're not judging you, but I get where she was coming from.
So how can you achieve this closeness? Well, Michael shares a crucial mindset that helped him hone his ability to absorb and acknowledge.
Even when she would just come at me, there'd be something, I looked at it as an opportunity to learn. That was a feedback point of, okay, I'm going to absorb it, whatever it is. I'm going to listen. I'm not going to try to solve it. I'm not going to argue the point of whether it's right or wrong. It's just stay there and listen.
Which inspires her to respect you more and admire you and be attracted. It'll lead to even more of that down the road. This talking point is all about reinforcing boundaries and leading. Listen to Michael describe it.
She said, well, I want to do some therapy. She's got some anger side that, she'll have a bad day. And it's a boundary for me now. Before I wouldn't confront it. I would just, okay, I'm not going to upset the apple cart. She's clearly pissed. I'm just going to, that wasn't right either. It was, you're not going to yell at me for something I had nothing to do with during the day. That's a boundary. We're going to respect each other.
Amen.
And she instantly like, oh shit, apologized. And it's okay.
There is another crucial part of this that you need to hear.
Setting those boundaries, even with stuff on money, hey, we're going to figure out a way. I don't, some of your spending needs to be a little better. I want to focus more on saving, college bills, or I'd like to retire someday. And, rather than just say quit spending, that's the annoying way. You're spending too much. Well, that's not actionable. It's more, you handle expense, I handle revenue. So you come up with a budget. but it's putting boundaries against that has helped.
Michael learned to reinforce his boundaries and lead, that masculine integrity that we always talk about on this channel. A balance of staying true to his authentic nature while still guiding the relationship forward, okay? Having that balance of being who he is, establishing what he wants, sometimes saying no to her, but still leading her, okay? Now, boundaries provide the emotional safety to reset the respect in the marriage, while leading alleviates the pressure that she may feel to make all the decisions. And together, they create a harmony of reigniting attraction on the highest level. There's even a study that backs this up. It is from Psychology Today on setting boundaries. They not only create security and value for both individuals, which naturally fosters a stronger connection, but clear boundaries are essential for effective leadership and improving time, energy, and resource management. The same type of principles apply in the marriage, where clear boundaries encourage respect, trust, and can create an endless stream of attraction from her. Have a listen.
I think what you're speaking to a lot is that like, well, the apex self, but just this aligned masculinity, which is like more leadership, right? More vision, more creation from your side, more like in lead, not just leading her, but leading the relationship, leading yourself, right? Like, because as you know, what really causes the relationships to fall apart at the end of the day is that complacency. You guys got to this level and you stop. And what I'm learning about the feminine more and more every day is they always want more. It has its pains in the ass around it, right? But that's the end of the day. They always want the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. And so like to give them more, all you have to do is become obsessed with growing yourself, constantly evolving, learning. And then I think that really just unlocks that endless attraction she has for you.
Clear boundaries and proactive leadership create a dynamic where growth and excitement flourish, unlocking a deeper level of connection and reigniting her attraction. Now, we've helped hundreds of men with this, okay? If you would like an opportunity to talk to one of our specialized marriage evaluators who have spoken to thousands, I'm not exaggerating, thousands of men to see every single outcome and knowing what to do with it, every pattern, you click the link down below and you set up a call by filling out the application. Now, I'm gonna say, we will take your call, but we only take calls if you are committed and ready to do something different, to take action. We're not gonna give you simply free advice and then all of a sudden you just do nothing with it. So if you're ready to take action, to do something different, to save your marriage, like Michael, click the link down below. This brings us to the final step of the Gears framework. Grasping this will not only ease the anxiety that has been weighing you down, but also create an emotional shift that drew Michael's wife and hundreds of others back to investing in their marriages. Go ahead and have a listen.
And then there's that letting go piece. Okay, it's kind of, if that happens and she wants to choose somebody else, that's not my choice, but I'm going to come from a place of where I'm in the right frame of mind, get myself to that apex self, and recognizing that it can happen. You can't control those things. I can control my behavior. I can be my best self, and beyond that, things happen where they're going to happen. And that detach point, I hear that, and it was a hard concept to kind of grasp. It's not giving up. It's not losing hope, but it's letting go of the situation of, okay, I've got to detach.
Michael learned to surrender the outcome. This is not about giving up. It's about detaching from what you can't control and focusing on what you can, your actions, mindset, and personal growth. This shift empowers you to lead with confidence and clarity, regardless of the challenges ahead. And I can say that after hundreds and hundreds of marriages saved, it's this step that truly turns things around. In the Pixar animated short, Bounded, a cheerful lamb takes pride in his fluffy coat and joyful dancing. However, when he's unexpectedly shaved, he feels vulnerable and ashamed. Now, a wise jackalope teaches him the power of resilience and adaptability, encouraging him to embrace his situation, bounce back, and find joy regardless of any external circumstances. Now, this perfectly illustrates surrendering that outcome. The lamb learned to focus on what he can control, his attitude and his ability to keep bounded, instead of fixating on what he's lost, the wool, his perceived identity, essentially. Now, you've seen Michael's journey unfold from the brink of losing everything to building a stronger, deeper connection with his wife, better than ever before. It's your turn to use these shift gears. There's a video right here on surrendering the outcome or letting go of detachment. Again, set up a call with our team down below by clicking the link, and I'll see you in the next video.